Anyone care to dip their toes in muddied waters teeming with sewage? How about a sea full of decomposing bodies? Didn't think so. Here are 9 of the world's worst beaches you'll never want to see again. 9. Henderson Island, British Overseas Territory. Becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1986 for its environmental significance, this remote, uninhabited plot of land in the South Pacific could not be a more quintessential deserted island. Except for one major problem. It's heavily populated with pollution. Located 3,200 miles from New Zealand, 3,300 miles from South America, and 180 miles from Pitcairn, with a population of 52, Henderson Island is smack dab in the middle of the bright blue Pacific. So, how can a place with no visitors warrant so much wreckage? It's not a matter of littering, it's what the tide brings in. Located near the centre of the South Pacific Gaia Ocean Current, also known as the East Australian Current, Henderson Island is an easy target for debris to slide onto its sparkling beachfront. In fact, the landmass serves to remind us that even the most secluded part of nature, in the most distant parts of our ocean, are threatened by pollution. After a 3-month stint on what is now called the most polluted island in the world, scientists were abhorred by their discovery. 37.7 million pieces of plastic covered the tiny 14.4 square mile atoll in the middle of the deep blue. 18 tons of plastic for this amount of space deems Henderson Island as having the highest density of plastics pollution anywhere in the world. 8. Serendipity Beach, Cambodia. Destiny foretold that the beaches of Cambodia would earn the title of most polluted in the world. It went so far as to claim Serendipity Beach as the top recipient of trash over all other of the country's sandy seashores. Due to the record-breaking amount of junk collected by volunteers in 2016, US News and World Report ranked Cambodia's coastline as the dirtiest in the world. With an average of 1,072 pieces of everything from beer bottles to water coolers, the project known as the International Coastal Cleanup lent one even bigger discovery. The rapid increase of trash is the result of a much larger issue. People in the Sihanouk Beach region lack a proper water filtration system and need to rely on bottled water to survive. A study by Water.org showed that 4 million Cambodians lack access to safe drinking water, and the result? The more plastic you use, the more you neglect. 7. Junxure Beach, Hong Kong. Hong Kong is famous for its cosmopolitan city streets and bustling waterfront, which flashes colourful lights and lend attractions for all to see. Over the past few years, however, the once pristine beachfront has been plagued by an excessive trash and oil spills. What was once a sparkling white coastline is now a black, sticky abyss due to all the tar that washes ashore. Due to a palm oil spill in 2017, more than 90 tons of oil waste congealed to the sand. Further, in 2016, a massive influx of trash from mainland China washed ashore and never left. Beach enthusiasts report the Hong Kong beach region as one of the dirtiest, with enormous amounts of plastic medical waste creating a beach apocalypse, otherwise unexpected from the squeaky clean metropolis of Hong Kong. 6. Kamilo Beach, Hawaii. When you picture paradise, it's usually a long, pristine beach with clear waters and glistening sand. What we don't envision are these natural habitats affected by the pollution running rampant in all other parts of the world. In Hawaii especially, couples walk hand in hand down lazy beaches with sprawled palms and coconut-shaped huts in the distance. The state is known for its spectacular beaches and resort properties, though one beach in particular won't be seen on the cover of a glossy travel brochure. Here, the strip of sand lives up to its two names, Trash Beach and Plastic Beach. The problem stems from a small solution, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. A giant area in the ocean which acts as a floating island of marine debris. The zone is a high-pressure area which traps waste within, save for the odd particle which breaks free to harm wildlife or invade coastal shores. More than double the size of Texas, plastics and non-perishables accumulate to render the zone the largest of 5 offshore debris vortexes in the world. So while the debris gyre is good for gathering garbage, it's bad for beaches like that to do the same. Located somewhat off the coast of Hawaii, Kamilo Beach makes for an easy target. The proof can be seen in the thousands of pounds of man-made trash which ocean currents drag from the patch to the big island beachfront, creating a plastic nightmare in paradise. 5. Kuta Beach, Indonesia. What was once a rustic and quiet fishing village is now an epicenter for travel and sun-kissed sand excursions. The rapid growth in terms of dining, shopping, art and water sport has given Bali, Indonesia, an impressive transformation over the years. Yet Kuta Beach, one of Indo's most sought-after tourist destinations, also happens to be one of the world's most polluted beachfronts. Indonesia is the second largest marine polluter in the world, next to China, with a whopping 10% of global marine pollution taking place here. So how can one of the most coveted pieces of paradise be a plot of land covered in garbage? What's worse, rainy seasons worsen the problem, since large amounts of trash wash ashore and cover the sand with everything from hairbrushes to water bottles. Fortunately, expatriates who made this area a surfing hotspot put the allure back in Kuta, despite its trashy reputation. 4. Juhu Beach, Mumbai, India. Juhu has bad juju, at least in terms of ambience. Crazy as this beach is considered one of Mumbai's most popular hangouts, as well as the nastiest. What makes matters much worse is the tidal wall that prevents anything from leaving the beach. So in essence, the shady shorefront is splattered with every kind of garbage imaginable, from diapers to plastic bags. If that weren't disgusting enough, nearby buildings habitually dump wastewater into the open sea. What may appear to be a Baby Ruth candy bar floating in the water's wake is actual residue from a faulty sewage system. Yet, there's hope. One of Juhu's neighbouring beaches, Versova Beach, used to be just as filthy until an environmentalist in 2017 led a group of 1,000 volunteers to remove £11.5 million of garbage from the ravaged shorefront. If torn between the two, opt for the one with the recent makeover, as it has significantly less trash than the other. 3. Guanabara Bay Beaches, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The water must be bad if athletes can't go near it to compete in the Olympics. Followers of the 2016 Summer Games may recall a huge issue with the polluted passageways of Rio de Janeiro, with trash-infested waters pervading television screens and prohibiting events such as rowing and sailing. Investigators uncovered such high amounts of sewage in the waters there that athletes who ingested as little as 3 teaspoons of water faced a 99% chance of bacterial infection. Everything horribly imaginable, from dismembered human bodies to raw sewage and floating garbage, leave a hefty bag-sized impression on the type of health policies employed by Brazil. Luckily, swimming, such as on the beaches along Guanabara Bay, is strictly prohibited. If one wished to escape the severe pollution of a heavily populated city, the open-facing beaches such as Copacabana and Ipanema are much cleaner and disease-free. 2. El Gringo Beach, Haina, Dominican Republic. Haina, more like hazmat, as that's what officials had to wear upon cleaning what is considered the most polluted city in the world. The area is so bad that locals call the city of Haina the Dominican Chernobyl, after a catastrophic nuclear disaster in the Ukrainian Soviet Republic in 1986. Makes sense, as the province outside El Gringo Beach is littered with chemical and pharmaceutical plants, as well as an oil refinery. The main issue, however, lies in the problem of lead poisoning, as the community is situated near a former lead-acid battery recycling smelter, where 90% of the city's inhabitants will suffer from lead poisoning at some point in their lives. To aid in the poor quality of air, industrial waste is dumped into rivers that lead into the sea, rendering most of Haina's beaches completely toxic and unswimmable. And that's not all. An open-air dump located near to El Gringo Beach causes tons of garbage to litter what was once a beautiful retreat and safe haven for beachgoers. 1. River Ganges. India prides itself on image when it comes to traditions of ancient civilization and spiritual values, and there is no country in the world that offers as much cultural and social diversity. Tourists flock all over from the Himalayas in the north to the sweeping coastlines of the south to partake in the beauty of India. What the cultural epicenter holds high in image, it certainly lacks in terms of filth and religious hypocrisy. For example, the river Ganges is all at once the holiest body of water in the Hindus, while also being the vilest and most polluted. According to Hinduism, the river is considered extremely sacred, as it is personified as the goddess of Ganga. The holy entity is worshipped by Hindus who believe bathing in the river lends the forgiveness of sins and freedom from the never-ending cycle of life and death. To worshippers, the river Ganges is considered wholesome, pure, and a coveted place of worship and ritual. And it would be, if it weren't for the mass amounts of open defecation which occur here. One solution in place by the Prime Minister of India is to install around 9 million toilets to deter visitors from eliminating their waste along the shores and in the water. That solves one tiny problem, but there are many others. Despite the river being so sacred, there is nothing that isn't discarded there. Everything from raw sewage, plastic bags and bottles, chemicals from animal hides for leather, cow dung, flower garlands, discarded relics, animal carcasses, cremated corpses, and human remains waste away in the murky, muddied waters of the Ganges. In the same instance of people defecating or tossing their grandparents in the wretched waterway, others come to bathe. As of 2015, more than 100 corpses, including young children, were discovered washed up in the tributary of the sacred river. Birds and dogs were seen feeding on the decaying bodies, left to rot under the red-hot sun of India. Near the village of Pariyar in Uttar Pradesh, another 100 bodies were scattered along the shores. The reason behind the remains? The relinquishing of human bodies is linked to India's custom of a proper water burial, which happens in most cases when a family cannot afford normal cremation services. If a family cannot afford to properly incinerate their loved ones, into the river Ganges they go. Have you ever visited any of the beaches mentioned in this video? If so, let us know what your experience was like in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to What Lurks Below for new video updates.